Hi, I'm John Terzvoli.
My name is Jenni Vitek.
I'm Bob Kodadek.
My name is Wendy Jackelow.
Hello, my name is Amadea Colado.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Sollazo.
Hello, my name is Marie McDonnell.
I'm Frances Rossi, and I'm very happy to be a participant in Art Lab's 2022 Open Show.
I've been a student at the Art Lab for a number of years.
I have always been a designer, a maker of marks, mosaics, and mixed media pieces. Art making is in my blood. A graduate of Cleveland Institute of Art, I was a clothing designer for 20 years before picking up my own work again.
I've been connected with the Art Lab for many, many years. As a matter of fact, I taught many years ago photography for a short period. As long as I've been able to afford a camera, I've been doing photography. I've always been involved in lab work and processing my own film and alternate processes, always trying to figure out doing something different. Used to do it all with film, of course, and then when digital raised its head, it opened up a lot of other doors, allowing us to do things that just weren't possible before.
I'm a medical and scientific illustrator by profession, but I take classes at the Art Lab for the last, over 20 years.
Lately, I've stepped back into printmaking, primarily working with monotypes and linocuts. The Open Show at Art Lab has offered a great opportunity to show my work with that of my peers. Showing artwork is like sharing a story. That's a very valuable part of my life experience and intrinsic to my personal development.
And I always take the opportunity to have something going in every one of their shows. It gives me a chance to share what I've taken with other people. The same way, one of the main reasons I enjoy going to the classes is because I get to share my opinion on something with other people that are going through the same thing. Because you take a number of people taking the same picture, and they all have a different way to do it. And that conversation and that transfer of information back and forth is what I enjoy most.
A couple of the reasons I've displayed my work at the Art Lab before is one of my favorite galleries on Staten Island. It's a great space. A lot of the times, when you create work, you inspire each other. So a lot of the work that is always displayed there is very inspirational.
I participated in the annual Open Show because I think it's a wonderful tradition that we have to continue. And I was excited to be in my first ever gallery show.
I actively participate in the annual exhibition of Art Lab almost every year to encourage myself, insist on the new works, and have the opportunity to share the skills and common improvements with other artists and attendees.
It's actually been quite a number of years since I've created something artistic, but being inside during the pandemic, I decided to use the time to get back in touch with my creative side. I started doing collages just because I had a lot of magazines and paper in my home, and a lot of the collages were inspired by news stories or the way people were feeling about the pandemic, things that they started doing with their families. Sometimes the stories were just about the passage of time. I had done one for Women's History Month, for Black History Month. These collages, I started calling them COVID collages.
Why did I pick the pieces I chose? Well, one of my favorite musicians, actually my top Spotify artist of the year, was Blood Orange, also known as Devontae Hines. So I did a traditional portrait of him wearing an NYC t-shirt because he has expressed his love for New York, which is something I feel very similarly about. The second work, Untitled, which I just really couldn't think of a title, is based off of the concept art of Lilo and Stitch. It's not direct fan art, but I just really enjoy the art style of that movie. And she has a giant teddy bear because a couple of years ago, I got a giant teddy bear from Costco. So that's the story behind these pieces.
This is my picture, Bear Tree. It's called a monotype, which is a one-off print where you put paint or draw on a plate, and then you run it through the press and you get one print from it. So that's what a monotype is, and that's this particular print of the Bear Tree. And then I added a little watercolor to that to round it out a bit. And this was a painting, Summer Sunlight, that I did this past summer in the summer studio program over 2 mornings. I tried to get it done the first morning, but the light changed, so I had to come back the second morning. But this is an oil paint, and it's something that I've more recently taken up. And thanks to Art Lab, I was able to start on painting as well as printmaking.
First piece is a composite of many different positional photographs of a gin mill up on Henderson Avenue. I think it's called the Union Hall. I took many photographs of it from different positions, and then I composited them digitally, stitched them, colored them, then printed it. And it comes out kind of surrealistic. It's not something I think I could duplicate. The second one is a photograph that I took when I was in the Dominican Republic of just typical street buildings there. And I used that as a basis for digital painting, painted the image and printed it.
I have 2 entries. Both of them are solar prints, and they were both done for an exhibition on jazz that I created and exhibited. So they are created with the solar plate and then inked and passed through the etcher's press. And I put the color on the same plate. So it does make it a unique process and a unique piece. The top piece is called Strange Fruit, homage to Billie Holiday. And the bottom piece is Jazz Idol, homage to Anita O'Day.
I chose to do a floral this year. I've been coming into my romantic period where I'm doing a lot of florals lately. And I'm working on clayboard with cold wax, which also can be heated.
One piece of my paintings in this annual exhibition, you could see a Harrod parking in front of a very old traditional Chinese house. Harrod is one kind of essence of American culture. Another painting of mine in this annual exhibition is a woman in traditional Chinese opera. She also conveys Chinese nation's love of the art, love of all the beautiful things, to the good and the wonderful national characteristics.
One of the pictures here is in Times Square in New York. I enjoy mostly taking pictures of New York and showing people enjoying New York, because New York is where I live. It's my favorite place. People have told me before that I was known as a thief because I am the kind of person who enjoys stopping at a rest stop on the highways, because when you go in there, most of the people in there are either going on a vacation or they're coming back from one, and they're all full of that happy energy. And I go in there and I just soak that up and steal all that energy from them. I love it. Can you imagine how I feel when I go to my favorite place, Times Square, in the summertime, when it's full of tourists on a weekend? It's definitely an overdose. And up here is a shot of a seagull at Ocean City, Maryland, at a swimming place. I couldn't resist. They didn't have that many lifeguards that day, so I guess this guy kind of filled in. And he's an auxiliary lifeguard telling everybody not to dive. Those that couldn't read the sign, he would yell at them to make sure they looked at it and it drew their attention. But again, another one of my favorite places because it's full of people enjoying themselves. And that's mainly what I'm about.
The show itself has got some terrific pieces. Shows are always good, but I think this show is actually exceptional. Some really, really nice stuff here.
My favorite work, other than my own, it would be my cousin's, who works in resin, Mike Adamo.
There are several pieces in the exhibition that I think are quite interesting. One of them is Sage Reynolds' small watercolors, Neil Bassignano's oil painting that takes place right outside the art lab. It's a night scene, very provocative. And the last piece is Colman Rutkin's watercolor, and a print of a watercolor that is also quite beautiful, a very soft touch.
I was very impressed with the 2 pieces by Lenny Khimishman, and I hope that I haven't mispronounced the name, but they are 2 exquisite little ink drawings that to me were reminiscent of the old masters.
Congratulations on having such a successful annual exhibition again. And congratulations to all the attending artists for your beautiful artworks. Thank you.
There are a lot of amazing pieces in the show at the Art Lab, and I'm very honored to be included.
I appreciate Art Lab for the classes that I've taken over the years, for the people that I've met, the instructors and the colleagues. Thank you, Art Lab, for this open show opportunity.